I know. I was really upset that Mitchell didn't get Taken King with us when it came out.
Dude, remember this strike with the Cabal brothers, where like you would kill one Cabal brother and he would take the armor off of his brother and wear it, and then fight you, vice versa too.
Yeah, because if the brother took the armor, because it didn't randomize which one came out first, and then like if you killed that boss, then the other one comes out, takes that armor, and then it's like slightly different.
Yeah, the fight would
there was
change.
like there's like 2 different like fights you could do.
Yeah,
and it was completely randomized, and then also their gear dropped specific like stuff, which was like
people really want that back, strike specific loot, which we have, but they want boss specific strike specific loot, like oriented to the bosses.
I don't get how they're just not doing that.
There's a lot going on in Destiny. I mean, they're doing a lot of extra shit on top of it. I mean, like, there's a lot of like little things that we look back on, and it's like, it was really cool. It was a cool feature, but like realistically, nobody really used the gear because it was just kind of. But now it would work really good because you can transmog, and then on top of that, you can roll in any gear as long as it just rolls with decent stats. Now, back then, it wasn't like that. It was like you wore the best gear in the game was the raid gear, and that was it. You couldn't wear whatever you wanted. You had to wear raid gear if you wanted to be like the best in the game.
Which I like. Part of me I like in a way of like, you know, you had to wear that to show like you did
cool, but
the raid thing.
It
but then
halts progression, and it halts like it creates a barrier for players that literally can't play the game. It's not good for gaming. It's not good to limit. It's not good to limit like players to be like, okay, well, you'll never be able to do in-game content because you don't feel comfortable to do raids with random people. I mean, there's people who play Destiny that have never completed raids yet, that have played all 7-8 years of Destiny, and I've talked to some of them in raids. They're like, this is my first raid ever. And I'm like, oh, really? How long have you been playing? Since beta. I'm like, this is your first raid ever, and you've been playing since beta. They're like, yeah, I just don't feel comfortable like doing raids. Especially back in D1, where it was like, you're not getting in a raid unless you have Galahorn. That's where that stuff becomes bad because...
And that was really when consoles were like... that they were bringing raids to like a console. So like console players weren't like that...
good at it.
They weren't like this. Wait, we have to physically find people... link up with them.
Oh yeah,
comms.
that was hard for people to do.
Yeah, that was. But you know, we were like
we came from World of Warcraft.
We came from World of Warcraft, so it came so easy for us. And Mitchell just tagged along, and then we were lucky enough to find a group of 3 friends as well. And it was like every week
we'd come together.
We were like, "Hey, you guys doing the raid this weekend?" And we're like, "Yeah, all right." And I mean, it was like we were planning weeks ahead, and that was really cool. Because like in World of Warcraft, it was like, you know, you were either just like looking for a group, or you did find a group of people that were going to do it every week, or people that like your guild you could rely on. So it wasn't like a set. This was like, you know, it was just 6 guys, and we could just
link up
and kind of have these small like group chats with each other.
God, it was so fun.
I mean, I remember the first time when we beat the raid, because the first couple times we couldn't do it because we were just so under geared. And then I remember I went to a wedding that day, and you guys were at my house.
Yeah, and the day we beat Vault of Glass, Atheon.
Yeah, and it was so funny. I'm at this wedding, and I'm like trying to like do the bare minimum at the wedding, like show that I was there, and then leave to go back because I knew you guys were at my house playing Vault of Glass, and you guys were like, "Hurry up! The other raid group's on, and we're trying to do the raid again." And I'm on my way home, and then you guys call me, and they're like, "Can you pick us up McDonald's?"
Yeah, we're like, so wait a sec, stop, go get McDonald's first.
And then so
we had to literally stall the other crew.
Yeah, they're like, he's coming, and I was like, you guys have me go get McDonald's, and they set up my my game for me.
Yeah, he was logged in.
They had me logged in and all this stuff, and then I come home, and I'm still in like my suit. Or like my
tux.
That wasn't a tux. It was like a dress shirt, tie,
yeah. I guess you
dress
weren't
pants,
in the,
like formal wear. And I sit down and I'm just playing in that.
You beat Vault of Glass in wearing formal wear.
Yeah, and that was like the cool. And I didn't really like. I maybe like loosened my tie, but it was just Like, I didn't want to take the time to even change because I was like, I want to play this so bad.
We had so much fun playing that game. I really wish you guys still played Destiny. Like, I don't understand why you guys are so against it now.
It's too much of a grind, and
it's not though. They've literally got rid of the grind. I felt
like I was doing homework every time like I got on. I was like, I don't really want to be doing these chores. And then
it's not like that though. I have told you guys that for the last like year and a half since seasons have come out. It's completely changed.
I still kind of felt like that with.
Well, you did play some of the early seasons, but the seasons have developed too. Like it's the first 2 seasons were like still like, go do bounties, go do bounties, go do bounties, and it's like, bro, nobody wants to do bounties. Now I like never have bounties, and I'm like just doing story content.
Yeah, I'm not gonna get back into it. I just don't want to.
I hate that so much. We had so much fun playing D1. Like we could literally go through like the raids again as a group and be like, we finally fucking did the raids. Raids are hard again. Like it's so much fun though.
Yeah, I don't know. It just wasn't that great for me the second like
it hurts me to
come
hear
around.
It.
Also, and then it was hard.
We had so much fun playing D1 though, dude. You and Tanner. Or me, you, and Mitchell.
Which I think I'm a big believer in that. Just the fact that all 3 of us were playing made it even more fun.
Yeah, of course. But Mitchell would play it if we all played it. Like if we were like, if you were like, we're gonna play Destiny and it's free to play, which it is, he would be like, okay, and he'd probably play it. He wasn't gonna get fucking Wonderlands, and then he got FOMO because we were playing Wonderlands. Mitchell will play anything we play. You just have to play it.
We played Destiny 2 for a while together, and he never.
It wasn't free.
It wasn't, but he did get it.
Did he get Destiny 2?
Yeah, and then we tried to run him through the raid, and then his internet was so bad that all the like raid team members would leave because Mitchell wasn't getting down the gauntlet.
Oh, the gauntlet was.
That's a hard one to like get the concept, and I was glad I was the gauntlet runner because I had the boots that made me run super fast.
Yeah. Fucking, I don't know Warlock Exotics very well, but I was the fucking shooter, dude. Oh my god, if you didn't have the right people for shooting, that was so annoying. Well, there was like, because people would be like, we're doing counterclockwise, we're doing clockwise. I'm like, bro.
Or like 2 and 2. There were so many different ways
like,
to
stop.
Like do it.
There's one easy way, and it's just do the one in front of you. Why are we? Or no, we did counterclockwise. I was like, just shoot counterclockwise. It's easier because you can see more of the map and you can see them fucking running. But people are like, no, shoot in front of you. I'm like, that doesn't make any sense because you can't see the call outs. Like you need to be able. Or when we were doing Shiro Chi, that was Dreaming City because you did that one.
Yeah, that one was fun.
Shirochi.
I still never beat Riven, though.
Oh, dude, Riven fight, go down in history as some of the coolest fucking raid fights ever, for sure. Like, that raid is in my top 3. But doing Shirochi and that dude that didn't know how to fucking read a book, and I, like, went off on this stranger. I was like, have you never read a fucking book before? Because we kept wiping on it, but they thought you were doing it. And I was like, because I did too. I was like, what are you doing, Derek?
You know, it's so funny.
I watched you.
Well, no, so every time these things happen, it always happens to me. Because when we first did, what's that raid called? The Cabal raid, the Leviathan.
The Leviathan.
So there's this bather the bather room.
The bather was fun. I love that.
That's a fun encounter. But it was I was getting mad because the first group we got, because you know when you first do it, everyone's
past the thing.
Well, like you're all like under level.
Oh yeah,
you're all like this is gonna be the hardest part is learning it and being like severely like crippled,
right?
With your stats and staying alive. So in like the first time you do the raid with people that are also under leveled and learning it. When these bathers would come up, when you're like switching between like the people that are like cleansing, that second person needed to stay with you and
help. That time, yeah.
And you can't like step off of it, otherwise you take damage, and then the chains aren't raising, whatever. But so the guys and you had like 3 guys, you were rotating between like 2 and 3 plates, 1 to cleanse, 2 of them to raise.
So good.
And my guy, he always comes over to me. Or whenever I come over to him, he didn't stay and help. He would just leave.
I remember that.
And I kept dying.
We all started to notice that, though. We were like, wait a second.
Why are you dying so much? And I go, well, so-and-so keeps leaving me. He's like, what? Like, dude, you've got to stay and help me. I can't take this guy because it's a melee guy, and it's almost a one hit.
Yeah,
and
he comes up right on your ass. Like, he comes out the door, like, literally right next to the plate.
And I can't jump off because I take damage then. Mm-hmm. So it's like I pretty much have to stay there and, like, die.
Yeah. And you're playing a warlock, so you guys were, like, the weakest to melee in a sense. So, like,
yeah. And
it was...
So that happened to me there, that we finally told the guy, and like, dude, you got to stay. And then Shiro-Chi, where this guy's like, we all had the assigned doors, and the guy the guy would either enter my door or I kept going in my door.
And then he would be out, like, and he's like, I don't know where to go. Like, he would get so flustered. I'm like, just go in a fucking door that's open. Like, it's not that fucking hard. Like, there's one more door open, jump in it. And then... like, his friends were like, what's going on? And then I was losing it because I was like, all right, this is, like, literally, like, the easiest boss in the raid. Like, we shouldn't have problems jumping in fucking open doors. So I was like, I went off. Mm. I was like, have you read a fucking book before?
Well, and, like, we had that boss down, so, like, we were like, we know we got the damage. It's just we kept failing the wipe.
Which was the easiest part, is just getting in a door. And I was like, he's like, what do you mean? We're doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I'm like, right. How are you counting them? And he was counting them like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on the top, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on the bottom. And we're like, what the fuck are you doing?
Oh, yeah. He was counting like all the doors, even the ones that didn't open.
Yeah.
He was like, no, the ones that do
You only
open.
count the ones that open. And I was like, his friends were quiet. I was like, have you ever read a fucking book? Left to right, top to fucking bottom. Mm-hmm. Stop counting the fucking closed doors and jump in an open door. I was sick of it. I've never blown up on anybody in a raids like that since.
Have we told this story? I think we've told this story before. It's one of our highlights of
but it's just like, I was like, what the fuck, dude?
We're all in understanding that we're recording right now, right?
Yeah, we've been talking about this is it.
We didn't get the opening. It's
we didn't do an intro, so we'll do an intro.
Welcome to the podcast. We're talking about
we kind of just like went into it. But
and see, I've listened to other podcasts where they kind of just like
talking.
They just start talking and then they kind of decide like,
it's probably it's the same thing. But it was Shiro-Chi was crazy, and I love Destiny, and I don't think I'll ever stop playing it. Like, there's something about that game that I've always wanted, that one game that you just always get on. Like, WoW was that game for us for a long time, you know? Mm-hmm. And the fun that we had playing WoW was so awesome because, like, you would get on and, like, when you would ask your friends, you're like, you getting on tonight? You know what you were getting on. We're getting on WoW. And Destiny is like that for me. And I'm like, I'm getting on Destiny. And every time I play it, I'm like, I have a great time. I don't care what I'm doing. But then I think of D1, where, like, we were all Vault of Glass. I'll never forget Vault of Glass.
Well, I mean, we made Destiny 1 really fun. I mean, we remember when we were like, we'd be max level on those characters, and we would just be like, let's just run strikes. Strikes did nothing
and we
for
were
us,
just chilling,
and it was just us like having fun.
We could do that again.
Like, it's never gonna.
We could literally. It's the same shit now. Like, there's crafting. There's like your gear is level. Like, you level your gear now. Like it was in D1. You get to choose your perks. There's no like. There's really no light grind. Like, yeah, you still get your weekly shit, but like every MMO's got their fucking weekly grind. Like, oh, okay, we gotta do the raid this week. Like, that's not out of the ordinary.
I just felt like, I think what really killed it for me was that big running puzzle that Glad was like spearheading to like figure out.
They got rid of puzzles. They got rid of puzzles because players felt like, well, there's only 20 people doing the puzzle, and then when like the puzzle's over, everybody goes and does it, and you're just waiting on time-gated gear. Like, you're waiting on a time gate for like the elite players of Destiny to figure it out. They got rid of those. They're like, this is not fair to the other community. Mm-hmm. Because like, it's really cool. Like, it was cool that the community came together to solve the puzzle, but there's nothing like that in the game anymore. They literally wiped it from the game because of that. And somebody tweeted about that. That's funny you brought that up because a Forbes guy who writes for Destiny tweeted yesterday. He's like, I want these puzzles back. And there was not one good remark on that. They were like, why? This was terrible. Like, it was a way for them to spread out content, and there was no content.
It was to keep you busy. Because I remember when I was running it, we were out of town together because you were working in the field with me.
Yeah.
And I mean, I spent hours. You were like falling asleep on the bed because you didn't have anything to play on it, I think, or something. For some reason, you were like laying down.
I don't remember.
And I was on my laptop. Because I don't remember why. But I was like staying up trying to like finish this puzzle.
I was still playing on the Xbox at this time.
Yeah, and I was like, this was because it was just sprinting the whole time, and I was like, man, that was kind of AIDS, and I didn't really get anything like for it, like the exotic maybe.
It was,
and then
it was story. That's what it is.
It's
for the story of the game. It was for Saint 14 and the lore of your character. Like, it was more embedded in the story, which was what they were trying to do with Seasons, where they're trying to build story rather than like just here's an activity, go have fun. It's an activity, but it's story. But the activity was bad. I mean, it was bad. Now they're coming out with good ones. But I'm not going to say that there's been fucking terrible times in Destiny. Fucking D1, let's be honest. D1 as a whole was really bad until like Taken King came out.
Yeah. It really was. It was not like a fantastic game.
I'm not going to say really bad. It was boring.
It was fun for us.
Yeah.
And it was kind of not what we were expecting, and I don't think anyone was kind of expecting, based off like the trailer, like any game. But,
the trailers were fucking awesome. Yeah. The trailers were so good.
But, I'm sure they had, their problems with fighting, Activision and all of them because they were embedded with them. But I always just felt like every expansion, every DLC, it was always like, they announce it, they're telling you what's coming.
They hype it up.
They hype it up, and everybody gets this way in Destiny. It's like, it's finally turning into the game that we wanted. Like, and it was like, oh great, and then you get on it, and it's like, it's kind of a little bit. It's just a little bit different.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I don't want to keep like doing this, like
getting hyped and then getting hyped, disappointed.
And it's not the game that we were looking for, but it's almost like Bungie knows this now, and they can kind of keep this loop going. Also, if people are watching, my Minecraft poster did fall. I just noticed. I remembered.
Yeah.
Looking at the camera.
Yeah, it looks weird without it on.
It's like the dark side, the light side.
Coming.
I try to get little baby Yoda in the shot. I kind of just take up the whole thing, though.
Are you calling yourself fat?
No. I'm just zoomed in a lot. What the fuck did that come from?
I don't know. I will say, just real quick, there was a lot of hype moments where, like, you were like, fuck yeah. And then it came out and you were like, fuck no, this is bad. But there's also been there's also been a few moments where the hype was good. And that was for, like, the Taken King was well deserved. And, like, Crota's End was fucking doo-doo shit.
Yeah, that was kind of like underwhelming.
Expansion.
The only
I did not like that one.
Yeah, because really I
like the aesthetic of it and the story of it, but I did not like the fucking raid.
Well, really all they added
it was cool, but it could have been so much better.
All they added in that DLC was pretty much the raid and like
a couple strikes.
I don't even think a couple strikes.
They added 2.
Well, one usually went to PlayStation. That
was exclusive. My god, I totally forgot that they were doing the PlayStation exclusive garbage back then.
Yeah,
because they got Monte Carlo and they got the Hawk Moon hand cannon.
They got
which are like some of the Hawk Moon was like the best fucking exotic in the game at the time.
Yeah, and only PlayStation players could use it.
So dumb.
So it's like such a weird like place in the game. But crossplay wasn't enabled, so it wasn't like you were
crossplay didn't come until D2.
You wouldn't be able to do that sort of thing with crossplay now because it's like we're legitimately alienating those people to not have.
People would have an advantage over you. Like Absolutely. If something came out and it was like way better, Hawk Moon, you would have a huge advantage on players in the Crucible. Mm-hmm. And no, you got to do away with console exclusive items in games. It's just not good.
That's just what the companies do. They're like, hey,
they don't really do it anymore because of crossplay. But like, it was a bad marketing play though. It didn't. I don't feel like it drove people to buy.
The majority of it didn't drive people, but to buy consoles, but it drove the community to the PlayStation side.
A majority of console players who play Destiny are on PlayStation. It runs better on PlayStation.
But plus the fan base was like pretty much started on there since PlayStation had all the rights to advertise. Remember
they
when
marketed the game? Every commercial was marketed as a PlayStation commercial.
Remember when Xbox wanted to? They did like a meme ad for it. Since they weren't legally allowed to advertise that Destiny's coming on the Xbox as well, they made a fragrance spray, like an image of a fragrance spray called Destiny.
I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah. And it was just like an image, and it was kind of like a jab at like, it's also like coming over here, but it was just like a blue like perfume bottle that said Destiny on it, and it's like coming on the Xbox or something. Like it had like an Xbox like logo on it as well. I forget.
Man,
but that was funny.
The day that like that game was so like, it's kind of crazy that it's lasted this long. I'll be honest. Like, I never would have thought that it would be a playable game for eight years. We're in our 8th year now, and it's like looking back on the day that we like played the beta. We were all playing the beta, and we're like, this is so cool because it was like totally different for console.
Mm-hmm.
We were like, wow, we might see like full scale MMOs on consoles now, and it didn't even feel like totally like an MMO.
No, at that time it definitely was not like MMO.
No,
like,
but it was like the whole
real
aspect of like leveling a character, and then like you had like these open world areas that felt, and then you had like a social. I think the social space is what really like was like, whoa, this feels like an MMO because you're like running around with players that you weren't actually playing with.
Mm-hmm. And then even then it was kind of not as cool because it was like you couldn't trade with people.
You still can't trade with people.
Yeah,
people still want player trading.
It needs to happen. Like that's like such a cool like way to interact with other players, and you know they could go even in more depth of like crafting. Like I still believe if they were like, hey, making professions that like you could only learn like 1 or 2 of. And then that like kind of creates like a market for people of like, oh, this guy, he makes guns. This guy, he makes gear. This guy, he makes perks for guns or for gear, kind of like.
Yeah, so I would like to see an extension to crafting. I think everybody would. Like this is just like the beginning of crafting, and where we're like getting to craft these weapons. It would be cool if we could craft gear on top of that, like going in and then like unlocking raid gear and then like leveling the raid gear again like we used to. Because gear they do like the mod thing, and there's a lot of things that they've implemented over the years that have changed the game. They say D2 it's no longer D2, it's D3 now. Like it's completely gone through an entire new life cycle throughout the game, and sometimes I watch videos of like what D2 was to what it is now.
So what does it look like on Twitch?
What does it look like on Twitch? It's only like 20K viewers.
No. Does it say Destiny 2 on it?
It's still Destiny 2. But like the game, like the two, if you put today's Destiny 2 side by side D1 or Destiny 2 like day one, entirely different. I mean like guns, gear, leveling, fucking subclasses have completely changed to the point where they're like back to what they were in D1 where you got to choose what fucking aspects you wanted in it.
Mm-hmm.
Like everything has completely changed to the point where like this game is completely different. Like there's almost no coexisting things. It's that changed that different. The only things that's the same is the fucking maps. Also PvP is still garbage and it's never been good in D2. But other than that, you know, it's pretty much a different game. And I would like to see professions in a way where like maybe this guy specializes in
spaceships, sparrow repairs.
Okay, don't get me with the sparrows and the spaceship. I think they need to take the sparrows and the spaceships and develop them more. That's a totally
space combat. Absolutely, we need space combat.
I think that there should be space combat in the sense of like
must.
We saw it in Taken King with like the Awoken fighting the fucking Hive, where they were like fighting the the drop ships and
I mean, it's a space game. Of course, there's going to be space combat and
Cabal, like fighting the Cabal.
I mean, when Bungie made Halo Reach, they proved to us that they are really good at making a space combat game because of the Saber mission.
That mission goes down in history as some of the best Halo missions ever made.
Yeah, I used to like repeat play that because I'm like, this is the closest thing we got to flying a Pelican because we've always wanted to fly a Pelican.
We weren't even in a Pelican though.
No, that's why I said it was the closest.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, it was. They could do it. And I know it'd take a lot of assets, and they're kind of building a game where like now they don't want to they don't want to release a Destiny 3. They want to vault things and make it. And the only problem with that is that hinders you because you can't put things in the game that will take a lot of memory because then you're like fucking Warzone where your downloads 600 gigabytes and now the only thing you can play is Destiny. They don't want to do that. Nobody should want to do that. We're looking at you, Warzone. And,
I saw a thing where they were asking, like, hey, can we get, like, a map rotation like Apex? And one of the devs was like, we can't do that without making the download size even bigger. And it's just like,
I think that's ridiculous.
That is them choosing to, like, hey, can we, like, condense this file for a possible chance that it might hinder, a little bit of like performance or like graphical, because usually they can compress those files to not like hinder it, but they're just choosing not to.
Yeah, I think their aspect of it is ridiculous. I think they're too afraid of pissing off a small bit of the community, which is weird because they're pissing off a larger bit of the community because like Destiny...
They've always been big fans of pissing off the larger. And
that's true.
They cater to the hackers.
Yeah, but it's like the same thing with like the vaulting content with Destiny. Bungie came out and did a thing. They were like, we don't want to vault content, but if you want us to not release another game and make it feel like you have no content again, then we're gonna have to vault content. It is what it is. Like that's literally what they said. They're like, it is what it is. And you guys are going to be pissed that we're taking shit away from you, but we're giving you new shit. That's just how it... Or you're going to have a fucking 600 fucking download every
Fortnite,
month.
They vault shit.
I think, yeah, and Fortnite does fine. And then it's fun because sometimes they unlock the vault and shit comes back in the game.
Mm-hmm.
And it's fun again. You're like, oh, okay, this is a refresher. We're back to Vault of Glass came back. And it's like... It was fun because we're like, okay, we get to jump back into the first raid, take down Atheon again, get all the gear again. Like, this is fun. It's a little different. So it's also changed to fit D2. And you go through it. And the entire time, every Vault of Glass I ran in D2, the entire conversations that were in those raids were guys saying, dude, I missed the first time we did this. Like, it's just a nostalgia trip, and it's so fun just for that aspect. Like, hearing other Raiders' stories was so much fun. And, like, telling people, like, oh, I had a friend that did it in a fucking suit because he came back from a wedding, and they're, like, all laughing. And we're just demolishing through the raid because we've already done it. But it's so fun to hear those stories again. So I think vaulting content's all right.
Yeah.
And maybe Warzone should do that.
Nah, they won't do that. Well, they kind of technically do when they take away playlists.
Yeah.
And it's just like,
I think
it's so annoying because it's like, oh, hey, only quads are available. And you're like, I don't have I'm
not playing with 3 friends. Like, well, I guess I'm going to go play a different game.
Yeah.
Like,
It just takes away from, like, Apex is built around playing with 3 people because you're supposed to, like, play with, like.
That's the squad.
That's, like, the squad. But
I think making squads 3 is how it should be for everything. 4 is hard to fill.
Well, I read an article from the people that made Sea of Thieves, and they're like, so why'd you stop at 4? And they were like, in gaming, 4 was kind of like the magic number of like friends group. So there was actually like more people.
That's interesting.
Playing.
I mean, we have 4.
Yeah, we do.
Our group,
we've got 4, but it was hard to get them all on at the same time.
Yeah. 4 works really good on Sea Thieves.
Yeah.
However, they let us fucking have 4 people on a brig. Why are we locked to 3 people on a brig? right?
Mm-hmm.
What the fuck is up with that?
I think just take the galleon out completely and just leave the
Nah,
brig.
the galleon's cool. I don't like it. It can burn in hell. But, like, let's be real. The brig, it's got the capabilities of running 4 people as a crew. Stop locking it to 3. Okay? Do I have any Sea of Thieves? Dude, I'm tired of you, Derek. What was that?
I think the volume's down.
I'm tired of... What is it? Play it.
Go up to 35.
Dude, I'm tired of you, Derek.
Tired of you, Derek. Okay.
I'm tired of you, Sea Thieves, because you're not making me so I can sail a brig with 4 of my friends, 3 of my friends. We're ending this. Is it almost over?
Yeah, 32 minutes.
Well, I think this is a good episode where we did nothing but talk about a little bit of nostalgia for Destiny. Her boyfriend has a decent penis. What was that? Her boyfriend has a decent penis. What was that in regards? Bella Delphine and her porn.
You know, we should take that as one of our posts too.
What?
The like inspirational quotes that we do now. And
her boyfriend has a decent penis. We can't do that one.
I can't even hear what it's saying.
I fucking hate sex.
Yeah,
that's a good one.
You
dude.
can't hear the audio.
Katie's like, why are they being quiet?
Yeah, it's like I'm trying to figure it
out. We're playing the sound bites.
This is a weird episode.
Yeah.
Like we didn't really. We kind of just were.
We just jumped in
and talked. It was a rant about Destiny, which happens here and there because.
Let me ask you guys this: Do you want to save this episode and
record an actual one? What time is it? Because Katie's excited to go home and hang out with her family.
Totally.
So, it's 11. It's almost 11:30. What time you gotta leave? Do you gotta be there at 1:30?
Nah, just leave here at 1:30.
I mean, if we just need to record a half hour and then Katie just like goes through it, she's done.
Yeah.
And that's up to you, Katie, if you don't want to.
Yeah, we could go through it too if you didn't want to do it.
It's not a problem as long as I leave by 1:30.
Yeah, okay, we'll record. You want to just record another one?
I would like to build up at least 5, and I keep saying like, oh, we're just gonna record 1 today. But
yeah,
I'm
you
like,
keep saying that. Nobody else is saying
like
that.
it's just like we're only doing half hour. It's like we
all
can
right.
do
So
it.
we're recording 2 episodes a day. Get used to it, guys. Suck our massive fat chodes. I like spicy food because I have a massive chode. If you don't know what that's from, you need to get out from under a rock. You know I fucking hate sex. You know what that's from, right, Derek?
Yeah.
So we're gonna end
Monty
this
Python
episode.
and the Holy Grail.
No.
What?
You're joking, right? I'm gonna hit him.
Bye.